Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to Mosaic. I am really glad that you chose to spend a few moments with us today. We hope that this episode is impactful in your life. Before we get into it though, I want to invite you to Easter at Southcrest Church. We are so excited for this year's Easter services, and we want you to attend and be a part. So at our Noonan campuses, we actually have 3 options for you at 8 a.m., 9:30, and 11 a.m. services. At our LaGrange campus, we also have a 9:30 and 11, and we're also streaming our service online. So whichever way you choose to engage with us during Easter, we are thankful and excited that you're going to be a part of that service. Now, we are right in the middle of a series here on Mosaic called Where Are You, God? And so let's take a listen to what Arthur has to say today.
You know, sometimes you just have no idea what's going on with God. And that the Bible says that's okay, you know, because there's a lot about God that is a mystery. There's a lot about Him that we can know. There's a lot of ways that we can know Him rather than just know about Him. But, you know, sometimes it's just really frustrating, to be honest, discouraging, disappointing, puzzling even, saying, you know, what is going on? Because we think, you know, God, if you would just pay attention to us a little differently, you would straighten out our mess. That you're missing things. You're not being fair. You're not listening. You've forgotten about us. And I think a lot of times we struggle with those kind of things when they're happening. And especially, you know, when you think about the fact that, hey, what's going on is there was a point in your life and you're like right here. And so what happened is that your life kept getting worse and worse and worse, and maybe those circumstances and things you had going on in your life got you to the point where you said, I need a relationship with God. And so you became a Christ follower, and you began this relationship with God through His Son Jesus. And then because you say, well, you know, what happened? I was at this low point and things started getting better. And you're thinking, this is really good. And then maybe circumstances changed, the relationship fell apart, you started struggling with your kids, you know, maybe there was just too much pressure from other things, and you began to feel yourself becoming depressed and discouraged and worried about things that you didn't worry about, and you start kind of going back the other direction, like, hey God, what's going on? And so, you know, and you kind of get stuck down here in this dip. And you know, we talked about that last week. We talked about, hey, when you're stuck in the dip, what do you do while you're there? And you know, and one of the things I talked about is so important is just wait and let God accomplish what He wants to accomplish in you while you're waiting. You know, and so you know, I was thinking about that this week. But you know, what does a waiter do? If you're at a restaurant, what does so someone who waits, you can say, is a waiter. So what does a waiter do? Well, a waiter serves. So while you're waiting, you know, one of the best things that you can do to take your mind off of your difficulties and struggles is you say, I'm going to continue to serve other people. I'm going to look to help other people. And you serve people while you're there and waiting there in the dip. But what I'm going to talk to you about for just a minute today is, what do we do to get out of the dip? How do we climb out by faith, right? You're in that dip, and how do you go up and start making advances rather than retreating? And that's what I want to talk to you about for just a minute. So in James 1, he says, consider it joy. Now, when you're going through difficult things and when you're in the low place in your life, it doesn't feel like it's a very joyful time. But he says, look at it differently. So set your mind to think about it differently is what he's talking about. And realize we can't be led by our emotions all the time, but instead to set our mind on that, right? And to consider it all joy. And he goes on and says this. He says, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. He says, so this is happening, but it's happening for a reason, and it is going to make you a better person. It's going to help you be able to endure other things. It's going to help you produce perseverance in your life. And then he goes on, he says, let perseverance finish its work so you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Now, none of us really wants to endure the difficulty of waiting this thing out and seeing what's going on. But instead of being miserable, what if we took a different approach to it? So let me suggest to you 3 things really quickly that I think could help you get out of this low point in your life and begin by faith to advance rather than doing the cowardly thing and retreating. So let's talk about that for just a minute.
Hey everyone, thanks again for watching this episode. I wanted to interrupt just for a second and let you know about something that we have coming up. Every year we take up an offering at Southcrest Church called the Reach More Offering. And every dollar, 100% of that offering goes to our local and our global partners. We have missionaries all the way around the world sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we've also partnered with local ministries here that are making a positive impact in our communities, right here in South Atlanta and down in LaGrange. And we want you to be a part. Every dollar that is given to this offering will go to these ministries. And I would love for you to pray, maybe talk to your spouse, talk to your family about how you can contribute and how much you can contribute to this offering. How incredible is it to know that you are making an impact in the lives of people on the other side of the globe? That's absolutely incredible. And also, you're making an impact here within our community. And so I want to encourage you, give to our Reach More offering. You can do that by going to southcrest.church/give. And there's going to be a drop-down menu and you can select Reach More Offering. And however much you choose to give to that, we are thankful and excited to see what God's going to do through your gift this year. Thanks a lot. Now check out the rest of this episode.
Hey Southcrest, my name is Houston Taylor and I'm a missionary who currently works in Stockton-on-Tees, England, which is the northeast part of England. I work with an organization called Tees Valley Youth for Christ. So I'm currently placed in a church called Stockton Parish Church. And that church is based in the center of town, which we are super fortunate to be there because we are right in the middle of our community. We are able to see what goes on, we're able to reach out and help where we can, but we also have a great connection with our local schools. And a lot of what that looks like is we get to go into the local primary schools and secondary schools, which are elementary to high schools, and we can put on different programs. Another part of my role is I am involved with the sports ministry, so I help to run that. And a lot of what that looks like is we get to go into those schools, put on sports programs, play a lot of soccer. That is the very popular thing in England, which is amazing. And we just get to share about just what we believe, just about how amazing and how great our God is. And this past year has been a little different. Ministry has looked a little bit weird. I think weird's a good word. A lot of it has been taken online, which is something I never thought that we would have to do. Zoom fatigue is a real thing. Don't let people tell you any differently. But our kids have done a great job of just showing up and just being a part of what we're trying to build. A lot of things that we're looking forward to is hopefully we'll be back in schools by June. Actually, things should open back up for schools in March, but we'll kind of see what that looks like. But I'm really looking forward to just getting back and just to see where God takes these next couple months and see what we're able to do.
Number 1, remember what God has done for you. Remember that He saved you, that He changed you, that He has not forgotten about you. Remember the times that you did pray and ask Him to do something and you saw Him move in a way that you did not expect. You know, and He almost always answers our prayers differently than we expect that He would. And when He answers our prayers differently, His ways are always better than our ways, right? And so, you know, and memories in our life are important, right? Like, you know, when I was a little boy and my mom would cook an apple pie, and I still can remember the smell of that apple pie, and I was like, it's going to be a good day today, right? When my wife and I were dating, when we were both in college, and there was a perfume that she wore, and when she would come walking into the room, I didn't even have to look up. I knew it was her, and so there's important memories. We get this, right? Or maybe you've got a special song. There's a song that's your song, or a song that's one of your favorites, or you've got some special memories with a song. You know, one of my favorite songs of all time, Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. And so there are times I'm sitting there remembering about riding in the car and have the radio cranked up and that song comes on the radio, or playing on a CD, or playing on my iPhone. And there's just good memories of that. It's just a big deal to me. So we know the power of memory, right? So let's use these memories of what God has told us and showed us to help us get out by faith of this low place that we found ourselves in, right? The second thing is that we should accept what God is doing. A lot of times what we do is we get so angry and frustrated and mad, and I just want this over. I want the pain to stop, the uncomfortable to stop. I want things to be different. And so we accept what God is doing because God may be doing more than we imagine. Now, there's a guy in the Old Testament, his name's Habakkuk, and his name means to wrestle. Or like I say in the South, we call that wrestling sometimes. And he's the only guy in the Old Testament who's a prophet who, when God tells him to do something, he says, well, he argues with him. He pushes back. Instead of saying, yes, I'll do that, he said, well, let me ask you some questions. I've got some concerns about all that. And so he says, I'll accept what God is doing, but I've got some questions first. And at the end of this tiny little book in the Old Testament, in Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 19, he realizes, looking back and seeing how God led him into a relationship with him and saw him grow, and then he got into a low point in his life, and here's what he learned from the low point moving forward. So let me read this to you from Habakkuk chapter 3. He says, the sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights. And he says, with all the things that are difficult and hard, and I've been in this low place, now by faith I've begun to see what is happening here. And you know what? God's been in charge the whole time. He's never forgotten about me. I see now what he's doing. And most of the time, we're trying to figure out what God is doing in the moment, and we almost can never figure that out in the moment. It's almost always we look back days later, years later, and say, oh, that's what God was doing in that moment. That's what he was trying to teach me, and that's what I got. So when you're going through something, accept what God is doing because it's for your good. It's for you. It's not because he's mad at you. It's not because he's forgotten about you. It's because he wants to do something new. You're of such value to him that he says, I want to help you be better. Number 3, how to climb out by faith. You remember what God has done, accept what God is doing. And number 3, you trust what God will do. Because when you're stuck in the low point and you know, well, at some point I'm going to be up again, you've got to say, yeah, I know he's going to do it. He's going to do what he said he's going to do. And it's difficult to see that because we want results right now, right? I used to say we're the microwave generation, but we're not the microwave generation anymore. Everybody has gotten tired of microwaves, but we want things to happen in a hurry. We want to download movies in a hurry. We want our internet speed to be faster. We want to drive faster cars. We want to get done with work faster. We want everything to happen at a faster pace and to be over with sooner. But trust what God will do, because God is going to do more than you could ever ask, think, or imagine. If you will just remember and accept what he's doing, that will enable you to trust knowing what he's going to do. Trust means that you can believe what God has done because he has shown himself faithful before. Faith is the conviction of things not seen. See, I sat on this rock wall a few minutes ago because I've sat on rock walls before. I could trust that it would hold me up. Right? Now, if I'd never sat on a rock wall before, if I'd never seen a rock wall and I said, I'm going to sit on that, that would be faith. But trust is knowing that he's been faithful before. So you can trust God knowing that he will be faithful to do what he said he's going to do. And he will get you out of that low place and restore you in his timing, which will be perfect timing, to a better situation than you ever imagined could happen. That's what he does all the time. He's done it with me. I'm sure he'll do it with you.
I've been strong and I've been broken within a moment. I've been faithful and I've been reckless at every bit. I've held everything together and watched the shadows found a blessing till I've been desperate to find redemption. And every time I turn around, Lord, you're still there. And I was found before I was lost. I was yours before I was known. There's grace to spare for all my mistakes, and that part just wrecks me. And I know I don't deserve this kind of love. Somehow this kind of love is who you are. It's grace I can never add up to be somebody you still want. But somehow you love me as you find me.
And I think your glory needs my praises. But if this world breath is yours, Lord, take it all. You are faithful and you are gracious, and I'm just grateful to think you don't need a single thing, and still you want my heart.
I was found before I was lost, and I was yours before I was known. You wear the scars for all my mistakes, and that part just wrecks me.
And I don't deserve this kind of love, but somehow this kind of love is who you are. It's a grace I could never add up to be somebody you'd still want, but somehow you love me as you find.
Love's too good to leave me here.
Love me as you find.
Your love's too good to leave me here.
Love me as you find.
Your love's too good to leave me here.
Love me as you find.
Your love's too good to leave me here. If you want my heart, then I won't second guess, 'cause I need your love more than anything. And I'm yours. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me. If you want my heart, then I won't second guess, 'cause I need your love more than anything. And I'm yours. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me.
I don't deserve this kind of love, but somehow this kind of love is who you are. It's a grace I could never add up to be somebody you'd still want. But somehow you love me as you find me. You love me as you find me.
Well, that finishes up and wraps up this week's episode on Where Are You, God? We really hope that it has impacted your life and pointed you in the right direction. We always want to challenge the viewer to go deeper in the relationship with Christ. And so we actually have a whole catalog of past Mosaic episodes that are still incredibly relevant. And I want to encourage you to jump back to episode number 1 and go through them and check them all out. And we really hope that you can find some material in there that will help you grow in your life. And as always, we want to encourage you to share this episode. So go ahead and just smash that like button and smash that share button. Let people know that you are watching Mosaic. That would be a huge help to us. And finally, we just hope you have a phenomenal week. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here for you. You can email us at hello@southcrest.church. And I'd love to answer any questions that you may have. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time.